everyone. This is Billy Joe from Green Day.
It's Senator Cory Booker.
Teresa Greenfield.
Hillary Clinton.
Danai Gurira here.
Catherine Hahn.
Hey, y'all, this is John Ossoff.
Kira Sedgwick.
Catherine Brody.
I'm Mandy Patinkin.
And her is my better half.
Okay.
It's Nancy Pelosi.
Gretchen Whitmer, the 49th governor of the great state of Michigan.
Tom Ford.
Piper Parabo.
Andrew Yang.
Thank you so much for getting involved. Y'all know why this is so important. This election will be decisive.
This is a war for the soul of our country, yes. But it's more importantly a war for the future that we deserve to build.
So thank you for being on the field, in the fight.
To bring about a different tomorrow for ourselves and for our children, our children's children.
Don't regret not doing more.
Do whatever you can do. This is it.
All hands on deck.
It's time to do all that we can, every hour, every dollar, every friend, every voter you can reach out to.
If we do our part, then good will be done.
You take action, you feel better immediately.
These are the last weekends to save our democracy.
The home stretch. The last weekends.
Which is a coordinated surge to make sure that we have the largest impact we can before November 3rd.
Hundreds of ways to get involved.
Volunteering is the best way to help elect Democrats up and down the ballot.
It's safe, it's easy, it's fulfilling, and it works.
We need more volunteers. We need you to get in this fight too.
Because democracy is not an individual sport, it's a team sport.
If you give a shit about democracy, you have no excuse not to participate in saving the shit out of it.
We can win back the White House and the Senate. We can expand the House majority.
Together, we will not only swing left, we will swing forward, and we will swing for the fences, and we will win. So let's get it done.
All right, everyone. So, welcome to the premiere of Gaslit Nation's very first radio play. So, Sarah and I, at the start of the pandemic, when we went into shutdown, we challenged our listeners to send us radio plays about Jared and Ivanka and their massive web of corruption. We knew at the time people were going to be stuck inside, and art was going to be the oxygen tank that we all needed. So we challenged our listeners to create some art at home. We did not think anyone would actually submit a radio play. I sold Sarah on the idea of doing this, that, look, if no one does it, I'll write the radio play, and then we'll be saved. We'll have a radio play. And lo and behold, we got dozens of submissions from across the country, and they were so fun to go through, and we were thrilled by the amazing creativity and the wide spectrum of treatments of Ivanka and Jared. It was extremely satisfying to see. And just so you know, while we had to choose just one winner of the radio play, we have so many honorable mentions, and we're going to keep all of these radio plays in a file, and we hope to do another radio play in the future because our team had a lot of fun doing this. And so without further ado, the winner of the Gaslit Nation 2020 Radio Play Challenge is Jane Willis. Thank you so much, Jane Willis, who sent us a brilliant, stunning work called BabaVanka, based on the old Slavic fairy tale horror story Baba Yaga, or Baba Yaha, if you speak Ukrainian. And this brilliant work is starring the great J. Smith Cameron as BabaVanka herself. J. Smith Cameron is, of course, the star of HBO's Succession, a must-watch series about the corruption and the moral corruption, inspired by the moral corruption of Rupert Murdoch and his twisted family. You absolutely must watch that if you haven't yet. And Jay gives a stunning performance, just like she does in everything that she gets her hands on. She's a brilliant artist, and we're extremely grateful that she took the time to star in our little radio play. Thank you, Jay. BabaVanka was produced by Eliza Smith, who also stars in this as Dot. You'll also hear the talents of Nellie Lonergan as Claire, and Scott Whalen as Nate. Thank you, everyone, for your submissions. We were thrilled to do this. We look forward to doing it again. And we want to remind everybody to absolutely vote, hand deliver your ballots in person to a drop box or the election office. It's too late, of course, for the mail. Stand in line to vote in person. Bring chairs, bring snacks, bring books, bring whatever you need to make sure you vote on Election Day. And you can join me and Sarah on Saturday, 4:30 p.m., when we do a phone bank with Indivisible to get out the vote in must-win Pennsylvania, where the polling is still too tight for comfort, and Republicans are trying all sorts of shenanigans to steal it. So you can join us on Halloween for a fascism or treat phone bank. And we want to thank everyone again for their submissions to this contest, and we are so touched and honored with sharing your creativity with us.
Yeah, just everything Andrea said. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted script. Congrats to our winner, Jane. This is a great little project, a welcome diversion from the horror of the news. And I hope everybody, enjoys it to the extent we can enjoy things nowadays. And I really appreciate everybody, listening and taking the time. And, remember, we're in it together during this Hell Week to come. And we have an announcement. So as everybody knows, the election is on Tuesday. That's normally the day that a new Gaslit Nation episode comes out at night. Obviously, we're not going to do that this week. The new episode, the one that's free to everybody, will be recorded and will come out on Wednesday. But Tuesday night, Andrea and I are going to do a special episode just for Patreon subscribers at the Truth Teller tier or higher, where we give our gut raw reaction on everything that transpires election night, from whoever the hell they're saying the president is, to what happens in the House and Senate races, to the direction our country is going. So if you want the really hot take, make sure you join Patreon in advance of Tuesday evening, and we will post the episode then, and then we will do another episode open to everyone on Wednesday. With no further ado, here is the show.
They were tired, and night was falling, and the pretty blonde lady had a voice like silk.
But it's getting so dark and chilly, children. Where are you going in such a hurry?
I'm hungry.
Of course you are. And you look so tired.
We can't stop now, Nate. We have to keep on.
The children were exhausted and hungry from their journey. They were missing their parents terribly and determined to find the wizard. Folks said the wizard was bringing so many torn families back together, but they had so far to go still.
We have to go see somebody.
Nate, she doesn't need to know our business.
Oh, how cute. What a little man you are.
For real, we're going to see the wizard.
The blonde lady flinched at the wizard, but she quickly recovered back to her doll-like demeanor. Claire thought this was peculiar, as otherwise, the pretty blonde lady seemed placid, with skin as smooth and white as vanilla icing.
Yeah, the wizard.
Claire said the wizard again, just to see what the lady would do, and she did flinch again. But then her face broke into a bluey smile that reminded Claire of the fluorescent lights in the dentist's office before the dentist stuck needles in her gums.
Yeah, and she's gonna help us find our parents.
Oh, that's too bad. Don't tell me you lost your parents.
Claire was struck by how strange the pretty lady was. It was as if the lady knew the words of the song, but not the melody. Her words seemed out of kilter, like she was trying to be caring, but couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah?
Well, that was careless of you, wasn't it, you silly boy? Now, where in the world did you put them last?
It's not funny.
Of course it isn't. Oh, did you lose them in the latest roundup?
Nate, come on.
And what did Daddy do to get rounded up?
journalist. I mean, he still is.
And Mommy? What did Mommy do?
Our mother was a chemistry teacher. I mean, she still is.
That means you've got nobody to fend for you anymore? Oh, poor little things. Come inside, just for a tiny while. I've got cookies and hot chocolate.
Let's go have some, Claire.
No, we've got a ways to go. I want to get there by morning.
Wandering around in the dark's no fun. It's so nice and warm inside, and a little rest would make you comfy. But whatever. Uh-oh.
Teetering on her Pradas, the pretty blonde lady scooted back to the cottage and stood in the doorway, beaming her electric smile.
I want to go inside. I'm really hungry and I've got a blister on my foot.
You're gonna have to suck it up. We're not going in.
Claire and Nate had been surprised to find this little cottage so deep in the forest. The roses in the garden and the fruit trees made it so inviting. Scattered about were many little stone statues of children. Behind one of the child statues, the pretty blonde beckoned them.
Come closer.
You don't think she's pretty and nice?
No, she creeps me out. She's like a creepy robot. You need to go. Now.
You always ruin stuff. You always find something wrong with everybody. I'm going in.
Claire's gut was telling her that there was something very off about this lady, but Claire was always alone in her intuition about danger and people with hidden agendas. And she was always shamed for speaking her mind, and told she was too sensitive. In an earlier life, she might have been a valued army scout, the kind that put her head to the ground to detect the enemy miles away.
Nate, wait for me.
As Claire followed Nate, she skirted past the stone statues. The rain had stained green tears on their faces.
Come on, children. Let's get these roses in water.
The second the children entered the cottage, the roses wilted and died. The cottage suddenly morphed into a cavernous prison, the walls dripping with reptiles and goo. Alarmed, the children turned to leave, but the door slammed, and a hairy, warty hand threw the bolt, locking them in. The children whipped around to protest, but the pretty blonde lady had transformed into...
Oh my God! What happened to her?
I told you there was something off about her.
She's got warts and skulls around her neck, and her eyes are bulgy and green like a snake's.
It's Baba Yaga. Don't look at her. Don't look at her.
The pretty lady outside was now inside, a beast of unimaginable horror. The white teeth gone, now a gummy orifice dripping with drool. Strangely, the thing still wore Prada, and on its chicken legs too. With monstrous strength, it picked the children up and threw them into a little cell, locking them up. Then it clicked away on its chicken legs.
You are right about her. Just like you're usually right. Sorry.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll listen to me if there is a next time.
Suddenly, the creature reappeared and threw a very large pot, impossibly crusted with rust and old food, into the cell and a box of Brillo pads.
Scrub it clean without a speck and tell me when you're finished. I want it shiny bright. Or else...
It's weird. She still has her pretty voice on, but she's a monster.
It's not how people sound, it's the stuff they do.
At that, BabaVanka shook her head and flipped her few blonde hair strands, sending spit all over the children. Then she went to her quarters.
We're never gonna get this shiny and bright.
Don't finish the task. Just keep doing it. I've been counting this vat of rice over and over. If you finish the task, she does terrible things.
Dot, a girl of about 10, was in the corner of the cell, sorting grains of wild rice. She was filthy, Claire and Nate got to scrubbing the impossible pot.
And be really careful. She's two-faced. She'll pretend to be nice one minute and then do something deadly the next. And whatever you do, don't look at her.
How do we get out of here? We've got to escape.
Nobody gets out of here alive.
But the story goes that if you're kind-hearted and noble, Baba Yaga will respect you and let you go home, like she did with Vasilisa the Beautiful.
That's a fairy tale. This is real life.
But sometimes you can make friends with monsters. It works in nightmares.
She's not Baba Yaga. She's BabaVanka. Whole different monster. And she doesn't follow the story rules. She breaks them.
That's not fair.
She doesn't care. She breaks everything. She breaks nightmare rules too. You can't scream to wake yourself up here.
I miss Mom and Dad.
You two on your way to the wizard? To find your parents?
Yeah, you too?
Yeah. BabaVanka built her cottage here because she knows all us kids pass on our way to the wizard. Hundreds of us caught.
Hundreds? Where's everyone else?
You don't want to know.
Claire and Nate peered out of the cell and saw an enormous swamp with crawly, scaly, deformed creatures lifting themselves out of the murk with growls and groans. Then they skittered off in all directions, leaving trails of slime.
Don't look! Don't look!
What's that awful sound?
It's the swamp creatures! The Jared, the Stephen Miller, the bar!
The reality is the president is a political genius who won.
And you are stepping up and bolstering the activities of our joint anti-crime task forces.
And the notion of the federal stockpile was it's supposed to be our stockpile. It's not supposed to be state stockpile.
Remember Mom and Dad warned us about the Jared, how it sucks the life out of stuff?
I want to go home. I want to go home.
They crawl out of the swamp at night, then loot the people of the land and burn stuff down and blow stuff up, then creep back into the swamp and do it all over the next night.
Ugh, it stinks. I can barely breathe. Ugh. I just saw Gollum too.
Shh, keep working. Don't finish what you're doing. Never, ever finish.
BabaVanka tapped over to the cell and stuck her awful face against the bars.
What a very fine and good job you're all doing.
Thank you.
Shh, hey, don't talk to it.
Although, Dottie dear, I think you finished counting that rice 2 days ago.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I'm not done.
At that, BabaVanka's long, crusty tongue snaked out of her mouth, and amidst Dot's cries, attached itself to Dot and quickly sucked out all her blood. Frozen with horror, Claire and Nate buried their faces.
Poor Dot. The monster sucked her blood and now she's turned to stone. Horrible.
Poor Dot. And maybe if we work really hard, BabaVanka will let us go. Do you think she'll see how good we are?
In order to find the good in someone else, you have to have some amount of good in yourself.
So there's no hope for us?
There was little hope for the children. Yet as Nate dozed, Claire scrubbed the impossible pan all night. She could hear the Jared, the Miller, and the bar slither back into the swamp, their night's evil tasks completed. Claire kept scrubbing the pan until her knuckles were raw.
Ow. Ow.
But just then, a tiny ray of light appeared on the ceiling, reflected from the shiny bottom of the pan that Claire had scoured. The tiny ray was indeed a pinlight of hope. And at that moment, that's all she had to work with.
Oh no! Claire! Don't be done! Here she comes!
Who's done? Are you done with your task?
Open the cell and I'll show you.
Claire, no, don't! Don't do it!
BabaVanka opened the cell door and Claire stepped out, holding the pan up.
Let me see.
Look, BabaVanka, see for yourself what a good job I did.
And with that, Claire held the shiny, sparkling pan up so that BabaVanka could see her own reflection in it.
Stop it, get away.
Look. Look what a great job I did. It's shiny and clear, and you can see yourself.
No, get it away.
But my mom always appreciates it if I warn her she has something on her mouth, so I'm helping you. You've got something on your mouth.
Oh? Where?
right there.
BabaVanka looked at her reflection in the pan.
Oh no, look at me.
As BabaVanka saw her own horrific self, she twisted and withered away. She fell into the swamp and got sucked away. All the swamp creatures got sucked deeper into the swamp.
Look at that, Claire. The swamp's turning into an orange mouth.
There's been so much unnecessary death in this country.
Miraculously goes away.
And it will go away.
It's going to disappear one day. It's like a miracle.
This is damage to the world.
Make it go away. We'll see what happens.
Go away.
It will go away until such time as this goes away.
We believe it could have been stopped at the source.
You know it is going away.
It's going to go away. Be eradicated. No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Wow, it's all gone. They're all gone, just like that.
It's just a little schmutz spot now. Nothing more.
I guess that's that for that. Let's get out of here.
As the sun rose that morning, Claire and Nate led the way, with Dot at their side, and with throngs of children following, because it was throngs of children who BabaVanka had turned to stone. And now that the curse of BabaVanka and the swamp had been destroyed, the children's singing swept over the countryside as they journeyed down the road to meet the wizard, Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren could reunite them with their parents, as she had a plan for exactly that. And the song they sang together had a made-up melody, but they all knew the words, which were, hope over fear, hope over fear, hope over fear.
Our discussion continues, and you can get access to that by signing up on our Patreon at the Truth Teller level or higher.
We want to encourage you to donate to your local food bank, which is experiencing a spike in demand. We also encourage you to donate to Direct Relief at directrelief.org, which is supplying much-needed protective gear to first responders working on the front lines in the U.S., China, and other hard-hit parts of the world.
We encourage you to donate to the International Rescue Committee, a humanitarian relief organization helping refugees from Syria. Donate at rescue.org. And if you want to help critically endangered orangutans already under pressure from the palm oil industry, donate to the Orangutan Project at theorangutanproject.org. Gaslit Nation is produced by Sarah Kensier and Andrea Chalupa. If you like what we do, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach more listeners. And check out our Patreon. It keeps us going. And also subscribe to us on YouTube.
Our production managers are Nicholas Torres and Carlin Daigle. Our episodes are edited by Nicholas Torres, and our Patreon exclusive content is edited by Carlin Daigle.
Original music in Gaslit Nation is produced by David Whitehead, Martin Vissenberg, Nick Farr, Damian Arriaga, and Carlin Daigle.
Our logo design was donated to us by Hamish Smith of the New York-based firm Order. Thank you so much, Hamish.
Gaslit Nation would like to thank our supporters at the producer level on Patreon: Laurel B.,
Stephanie Brandt, MD,
Mark Snaggs Alexander,
Rachel Winder,
Stephanie K. Reasoner,
T.R. Dunstan,
John Millett,
Michael Finn,
Lacey W. Brightside Counseling,
David East,
Shannon Nacy,
Ida,
Chris Fellow,
Dodie Pop,
Kristen Bredimus,
Suzanne McFadden,
Gabriel R.,
Ben Wheaton,
Amy Timon,
Susan L. Powell,
Michelle Sweringen,
Rich Holcomb,
Sean McDonald,
Jeremy Thompson,
Thomas Scheibe,
Julie Matthews,
Mark,
Barbara Kittredge,
Ripon Rowe,
Matthew Womack,
Sean Berg,
Daniel Passaretti,
Kristen Custer,
Benjamin Galuza,
Kai Gillis,
Toby,
Sharon Hattrick,
Keith Galtshock, William
Barry Reeves,
Janet Robinson,
John Atrix,
Richard Smith,
Emmy,
Kevin Gannon,
Sandra Kalnin,
Michael Steiniff,
Oliver Ash,
Ren,
Kat Cooper,
Katie Masuris,
John Laughlin,
Jeff Thompson,
Evan Rosemore,
Ray Alba,
Leo Chalupa,
Carol Goldstad,
Michael Wooldridge,
Greg Kreimer,
Fontaine Carpenter,
Jason Benke,
Marcus J. Trent,
Joe Darcy,
Ann Marshall.
Wait, I lost my place. Sorry. Victoria Nordgren,
Solomon Hikes,
George Hughes,
Christine Morgan,
D.L. Singfield,
Matt Perez,
Nicole Spear,
Kelly Ranson,
Brian Tajudin,
Gustav Halsby,
Christy Vitale,
Adam Levine,
Maureen Murphy,
Michelle Dash,
Jens Eilstrup Rasmussen,
Yawns, Zachary Lemon,
Dorothy Komarick,
Victoria Olson,
Alabama,
Jason Rita,
Margaret Moe,
Z White,
Rich Craw,
Alan Liu,
Brian Collins,
Lisa LaFlame,
Catherine Anderson Karina,
Lawrence Graham,
Mike Tripico,
Diana Gallagher,
John Ripley,
Ethan Mann,
Jennifer Slavic,
Rhonda White,
Piet Itzma,
David Porter,
Kate Cotton,
Lorraine W. Todd,
Lynn Schneider,
Kevin M. Garnett,
Jared Lombardo,
Karen Humphreys,
Ann Marshall,
Irina Guardia,
Eric Kaplan,
Sonia Bogdanovic,
Tanya Chalupa.
Thank you all for your support. We could not make this show without you.
Yes, thank you.